When people say, "How are you?" you know what I say. It doesn't get any better than my life has been. When I try and figure out why am I so blessed, God? Then I have to go back and think, where did I learn about you from? And it's amazing. I have a packet of letters that came from the grandmother that lived over in England when she sent her son, wife, and children to come to America, and how she admonished them to keep the faith, to be good kids, to mind their mom and dad. The trip over, some of the kids were washed overboard. The sailors rescued them. When they arrived, the mom, who was very pregnant, had been very gripey, and my grandfather said he didn't like her. But he was a little kid, little bitty kid. Their trip was just horrendous. Then they arrived in Galveston, and the fever of whatever was going around, and people were getting sick. They lost one of the children, and his mother died. Well, his father was a railroad man. He came over to work he was a iron worker, and he couldn't take care of all these kids, so he gave the family to the Davises. And they were there a short time before Mrs. Davis died. So then the kids were on their own. Papa Jim told me they had a wonderful time. He rode the buckboard and wagon when it was taking people out of town. Then he'd jump off and walk back. It was a free and easy life at first. But his daddy had to work hard to provide for him. Papa Jim was very clever. He learned math and geometry. He knew how to put things together, and he became the tinsmith. From them, we learned that they climbed the Capitol of Texas up under the dome, reinforced, and he talked about what fun it was to grab the lines that went from the top and ride down on them rather than climb the ladders. Lunchtime. Lunchtime is important to men. He was an interesting storyteller. I wish I had had a recorder because he never ran out of words or stories to talk about. His mother had sent all these letters admonishing, and my mom inherited those letters. I got to read them. When there was an opportunity, we went over, and we took my mom to see that home that Papa Jim came from. Beautiful place. Represents all that history. There was where the iron was worked for the fighting that always seems to be going on between somebody. I want to comment to all those who have served how much I appreciate what they did for our country, but it never seems to end. My Manny was a school teacher of the strictest kind. Her parents were preachers. The Episcopal Church there in Houston was part of their parish. When I spent the night with Mom Annie and Papa Jim, we went to bed saying our prayers, and we woke up in the morning saying our prayers and reading the Bible. You don't get breakfast until that is taken care of. Top of the agenda. Growing up, I went to my parents' knees and knelt to say my prayers before I went to bed. So you see, it was part of growing up to ask the blessing, say your prayers, and talk to God. We traveled. My parents took us everywhere, and I saw the most beautiful scenes on this earth at their hands. We worked in the gardens together. I couldn't have had a more rich, wonderful life. So I have a brother, Jack, who's 8 years older than I, a sister, Corrine, who's 4 years older than I, and her description of me at birth was, "Oh, Mama, she looks just like a frog." So as the baby of the family, the frog, I grew up hopping around trying to keep up with them. It's amazing what my parents accomplished and how much I saw them working together. I don't remember any arguments in their family. They were too busy building our home. Mom got down in the ground and dug the foundation holes to build the concrete forms to hold the house up. It was on a hill. Daddy took his shovel and a wheelbarrow and terraced those hills, going all the way to the creek in the back. My brother laid logs over that creek to make a dam. Everything was family-oriented. We went fishing. Oh, was that ever a treat. As a little bitty kid, I hauled a big old fish on my shoulder all the way through Baketown Evergreen oil fields to get back to the car, and Daddy filleted that and cooked it for us. Over the campfires out on the islands, Mom fixed shrimp in a little bitty old can. Oh, I had the most gorgeous childhood. I have been blessed from pillar to post. And most people say pillar to post when they're complaining. I never have a complaint. It's just been too beautiful. And therefore I ask, God, why are you still blessing us? What's my job? What do I need to do? How can I help? Well, we always tithed. Mom and Dad, they gave this huge stained glass for the church there in St. Mark's, not far from the oil field refinery, Exxon. And then it was moved over to Grace, and it's still there. Mom and Dad gave windows. Do we need windows? I'm volunteering. We just have so much that we need to do and give. And I feel like that's our calling, to find a spot where we can help, where we can be a part of building God's better world. I don't know how much we can do, but we need to get over and get a few more children in this church. Do you remember any of your Sunday school teachers? Oh my gosh, I had some that stood there and turned the page as we sang, "This is my Father's world." From the time I was little on, we were singing about our church and about our Father's world. And it's still a song in my heart. So I feel like our responsibility now is to get out and bring a few more of those children in to hear about God's world. I think about what Sharmy did over at Aldersgate, teaching all those kids. And she always had them around that table, coloring and making things and reading the Bible stories. I feel guilty. I never did that. So I know there's things I need to do. And I guess my testimony is, Lord, help me. I need to get up and get going on some of these jobs. I enjoyed singing in the church choir. Oh, man, that was fun. I miss that. I miss our choir, and I miss singing. I miss having little kids here. But I'm so thankful for this church and for the strong faith, because my great-great-grandmother over there in England served tea to the Wesleys. Her husband was one of those men that had a church for the people around them. And I don't think I've ever had church in my house for the people around me. They were brave, tough, outgoing people. I try to be outgoing, but I fail. I'm not outgoing enough to get that bag boy at the grocery store here. I'm not brave enough to tell that lady that, hey, we've got a great church. Come on, I'll come pick you up. Pray for me that I'll get a bigger backbone and will get out and take the initiative to pull in some of these people that are in our neighborhood here that probably haven't ever been in church. I don't know how, but we need to. And my testimony is God's been so good to our family all the way down through the years. I've got a big debt. That's all I can think of to say. Thank you.